Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Reena Malik, urologist and pelvic surgeon, and today I want to talk directly to the men out there who are over the age of 60 or those who love and care for them. Because when it comes to your prostate, there's one habit that could be quietly making things worse. And if you don't address it, it may lead to more sleepless nights, uncomfortable bathroom trips, and unnecessary health risks. So listen closely because this could change the way you think about your daily routine. By the time a man reaches his 60 seconds, the chances are very high that he will begin to experience some form of prostate enlargement. The prostate, which is a small gland located just below the bladder, is about the size of a walnut in younger men. It plays an important role in reproductive health by producing fluid that nourishes and transports sperm. However, with age, it doesn't always remain that small. The condition we call benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, becomes increasingly common as men grow older. Statistics tell us that by the age of 60, more than half of men are affected, and by 80, nearly 90% will have some degree of prostate enlargement. Although it isn't cancer, the condition can significantly affect quality of life. The reason why prostate enlargement is so impactful is because of its location in the body. The prostate sits just beneath the bladder and surrounds the urethra, the narrow tube that carries urine out of the body. When the prostate enlarges, it doesn't expand outward into empty space. Instead, it presses directly against the urethra, like a clamp squeezing a hose. This makes it harder for urine to flow freely, and over time, this pressure leads to some very uncomfortable symptoms. Many men describe the feeling of needing to urinate constantly, even though very little comes out. Some feel a weak stream, dribbling after urination, or the constant urge to get up multiple times during the night. Others notice that they have to strain to empty their bladder, or that despite trying, they never feel fully relieved. These urinary symptoms may seem like minor annoyances at first, but they can take a toll on a man's everyday life. Imagine being woken up 2, 3, or even 4 times every single night just to go to the bathroom. Sleep quality suffers, leading to fatigue, irritability, and reduced focus during the day. Some men start avoiding long trips or social outings because they're worried about not having quick access to a bathroom. For many, this creates embarrassment, frustration, and even social withdrawal. What makes matters worse is that many men assume these problems are simply part of getting older and decide to put up with them instead of seeking help. But prostate enlargement is not something to be brushed aside. The bladder, when forced to work harder against an obstructed urethra, can become thicker and less elastic. This can lead to incomplete emptying and, over time, increase the risk of urinary tract infections, bladder stones, or even kidney problems in more advanced cases. While these complications are less common, they highlight why BPH is more than just an inconvenience. It is a medical condition that deserves attention and proper management. It's important to also note that prostate enlargement doesn't always progress at the same rate for every man. Some may develop mild enlargement with minimal symptoms, while others may struggle with significant obstruction and discomfort. Family history, lifestyle, diet, hormone levels, and overall health all play a role in how the prostate changes with age. The key point, however, is that once a man reaches his 60 seconds, the odds of having some degree of enlargement are no longer small. They are more likely than not. For that reason, awareness is crucial. Recognizing the early signs and understanding that these changes are common can help men take action sooner rather than later. Early evaluation by a doctor can rule out more serious conditions such as prostate cancer and provide reassurance as well as guidance on lifestyle adjustments or treatment options. The earlier men become proactive, the better their chances of maintaining comfort, protecting their urinary health, and preventing unnecessary complications. So when we say that by age 60, more than half of men will deal with prostate enlargement, it's not meant to create fear. It's meant to create awareness, knowing that this is common and that help is available empowers men to stop ignoring the symptoms and start addressing them. Because the truth is, the prostate may change with age, but your quality of life doesn't have to decline with it. When it comes to prostate health, there's one habit that quietly causes more damage than many men realize, especially after the age of 60, and that is carrying excess body weight combined with unhealthy eating patterns. For decades, men have thought of prostate enlargement as something that simply happens with age, a kind of unavoidable consequence of getting older. But research has consistently shown that lifestyle choices, particularly weight management and diet, play a powerful role in how much the prostate grows and how severe the symptoms become. In fact, obesity is one of the strongest predictors of worsening benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. So why is weight such a problem? The answer lies in the way fat behaves inside the body. Most people think of fat as just extra padding, something that sits on the outside and makes the body look bigger. But in reality, fat is not passive at all. It is metabolically active tissue, especially the type of fat that gathers deep in the abdomen, called visceral fat, acts almost like an organ of its own. It releases hormones, chemicals, and inflammatory signals that spread throughout the body. Over time, this chronic low-grade inflammation doesn't just affect the heart or blood vessels, it also impacts the prostate. These inflammatory signals can stimulate prostate cells to grow and multiply, leading to enlargement. Excess body fat also influences hormone balance. Men who are overweight often have higher levels of estrogen relative to testosterone because fat tissue converts testosterone into estrogen. This shift in hormone balance may further encourage prostate tissue growth. The result is that men who carry extra belly fat are far more likely to develop more severe symptoms of prostate enlargement, such as frequent urination, weak stream, or nighttime trips to the bathroom. It's not just age, it's what the body is being fed and how much strain it's carrying that matters. Diet plays an equally critical role. A poor diet that is heavy in processed foods, red meats, fried items, and sugary drinks feeds the cycle of inflammation and weight gain. These foods flood the body with unhealthy fats, salt, and sugars that stress organs, spike insulin levels, and promote fat storage. They provide little in terms of protective nutrients, antioxidants, or fiber that could help reduce inflammation and protect the prostate. On the other hand, diets rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and lean proteins have been shown to lower the risk of prostate enlargement and improve urinary symptoms. For example, men who eat more tomatoes, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, and foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids may enjoy protective effects against both prostate enlargement and prostate cancer. The problem is that the habit of eating poorly and carrying excess weight becomes so normal that many men don't see the link between what's on their plate and what's happening in their prostate. They may blame age alone or assume nothing can be done, but the truth is breaking this habit can dramatically change the trajectory of their prostate health. Even modest weight loss, 5 to 10% of total body weight, has been shown to reduce inflammation, improve hormone balance, and lessen urinary symptoms in men with BPH. It's not about achieving a perfect body, but about lightening the load on the system so the prostate is no longer receiving constant growth signals. So the worst habit a man over 60 can hold on to is neglecting his weight and diet. By continuing to live on processed foods, sugary drinks, and excess calories, the prostate is essentially being fed fuel to grow bigger. But by breaking that habit and making smarter choices, men can shift the balance back in their favor. The power really does lie in small, daily decisions. Every healthier meal, every walk instead of sitting, every glass of water instead of soda contributes to slowing down prostate growth and reclaiming comfort in everyday life, the habit that seems harmless. The extra snack, the skipped walk, the second serving turns out to be the very thing driving the prostate to grow. And stopping it now is one of the most powerful steps a man can take toward a healthier, freer future. One of the most overlooked truths about prostate health is the role of fat, not just as extra weight, but as a living, active tissue that changes how the body functions. Men often think of belly fat as something cosmetic, something that only affects the way they look or the number on the scale. But science shows us that fat, particularly visceral fat that builds up deep in the abdomen, is far more dangerous. It behaves almost like a hormone factory, constantly releasing chemical messengers into the bloodstream. These messengers are inflammatory signals, and when they circulate throughout the body day after day, year after year, they set the stage for disease. One of the organs heavily influenced by this hidden inflammation is the prostate. When chronic inflammation becomes part of the body's environment, the prostate tissue is placed under constant stress. Inflammation causes cells to grow abnormally, and in the case of the prostate, that means more tissue is produced than the body actually needs. Over time, this extra tissue leads to enlargement, known as benign prostatic hyperplasia. Unlike cancer, BPH isn't life-threatening, but the discomfort and lifestyle disruptions it creates can be life-altering. The problem is that many men don't connect the dots. They see urinary frequency, weak stream, or nighttime trips to the bathroom as isolated problems, never realizing that the fat sitting around their waistline is quietly feeding the condition through an endless drip of inflammatory chemicals. What makes visceral fat particularly dangerous is its location. This fat wraps around internal organs like the intestines, liver, and bladder and sits right in the middle of the body's metabolic hub. It is in a prime position to release cytokines, which are tiny protein messengers that drive inflammation. Elevated cytokine levels not only affect the heart and blood vessels, but also disrupt hormone balance, weaken immune responses, and, as researchers have observed, stimulate the prostate to grow. Think of it like this. Every pound of belly fat is not just stored energy. It's a tiny factory pumping out substances that make the body work harder and the prostate grow larger. Another way inflammation from fat affects the prostate is through oxidative stress. Inflammation produces free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells. When free radicals are constantly bombarding prostate tissue, the cells respond by multiplying and trying to repair the damage. But this overdrive response doesn't result in healing. It results in enlargement. Over years, the cumulative effect of this microscopic stress and repair cycle adds up to noticeable prostate growth and worsening urinary symptoms. And this isn't just theory, it's backed by studies. Research consistently shows that men with higher body mass index, larger waist circumference, and higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood are far more likely to experience moderate to severe BPH symptoms. Even more striking is that men who reduce their body fat and lower inflammation often see improvements in their urinary health. This proves that the connection isn't just coincidental, it's causal. In other words, inflammation driven by fat doesn't just appear alongside prostate growth, it actively helps to drive it. The good news is that inflammation is not permanent. It can be reduced, controlled, and even reversed through lifestyle changes. Exercise is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory tools available. When the body moves regularly, it not only burns calories, but also reduces the production of harmful cytokines. A healthier diet rich in fruits, vegetables, omega-3 fats, and whole grains introduces antioxidants that neutralize free radicals and calm inflammation. Even small adjustments like walking after meals, adding more leafy greens, or choosing fish instead of fried foods create a measurable difference inside the body. So when we talk about fat and inflammation, we are not just describing an abstract medical concept. We are talking about the invisible fuel that pushes the prostate to grow larger than it needs to be. Men who ignore this process often find themselves caught in a cycle of worsening symptoms and increased frustration. But men who confront it by lowering their fat levels, calming inflammation, and nourishing their body with better choices discover that their prostate doesn't have to dictate their life. The science is clear. Belly fat is more than a waistline issue. It's a prostate issue. Breaking the cycle of fat-driven inflammation is one of the most direct ways to protect the prostate and restore comfort, confidence, and control in everyday living. When men think about prostate health, many assume that it is something written into their DNA, something they have no control over, a silent fate that comes with growing older. While age and genetics certainly play a role, what often gets overlooked is the powerful influence of diet and lifestyle. The way you eat, drink, move, and live on a daily basis has a direct and measurable effect on your prostate. In fact, one of the most common and harmful mistakes men over 60 make is to dismiss diet and lifestyle altogether, believing it won't make much difference. But the truth is that ignoring these factors often accelerates prostate growth and makes urinary symptoms far more severe. The modern diet, filled with processed foods, fried snacks, sugary drinks, and red meat, is a major driver of prostate problems. These foods don't just add inches to the waistline, they fuel inflammation, disrupt hormone balance, and deprive the body of essential nutrients. A man who relies on fast food, packaged meals, or high-sugar beverages is not just eating poorly, he is actively feeding the biological processes that cause his prostate to enlarge. Studies have shown that diets high in saturated fat and refined carbohydrates are associated with worse urinary symptoms and greater prostate volume. Meanwhile, men who eat more vegetables, fruits, and whole foods consistently report fewer problems and slower prostate growth. It is not only about what is eaten, but also about what is missing. Many men lack sufficient fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats in their diet. Fiber supports gut health, which in turn influences systemic inflammation. Antioxidants from fruits and vegetables neutralize free radicals that otherwise damage prostate cells. Omega-3 fatty acids from sources like fish or flaxseed have anti-inflammatory effects that help calm the very signals driving tissue growth. Without these protective elements, the prostate becomes vulnerable and enlargement progresses unchecked. Lifestyle choices go hand in hand with diet. Sedentary living, something far too common after retirement, weakens the body's natural defense systems. Hours spent sitting without movement slows circulation, reduces metabolism, and encourages fat accumulation. This leads back to the vicious cycle of inflammation and hormone imbalance that fuels prostate growth. On the other hand, men who stay active through walking, swimming, cycling, or even light strength training experience reduced inflammation, improved blood flow, and better weight control. Exercise also directly supports urinary function by keeping pelvic muscles stronger and healthier. Even small amounts of regular activity make a profound difference. Another overlooked lifestyle factor is hydration. Many older men cut back on drinking water because they fear making urinary frequency worse. But this habit can backfire. Concentrated urine irritates the bladder and makes symptoms worse. Proper hydration helps keep the urinary tract healthy, flushes toxins, and reduces irritation. Moderation, not restriction, is the key. Similarly, limiting alcohol, caffeine, and late-night fluids can help without depriving the body of the hydration it needs during the day. Stress and sleep patterns also play subtle but important roles. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, a hormone that disrupts immune balance and encourages inflammation. Poor sleep weakens the body's repair systems and further fuels stress hormones. Men who prioritize rest, relaxation, and stress management not only feel better overall, but often notice a positive effect on urinary health. The mistake many men make is thinking these choices are too small to matter, but the body notices every choice you make. A plate of vegetables isn't just a meal, it's a dose of anti-inflammatory medicine. A 30-minute walk isn't just light exercise, it's a reset button for hormone balance and circulation. Drinking water instead of soda isn't just hydration, it's a protective act for your bladder and prostate. Added together over weeks, months, and years, these choices determine whether your prostate grows rapidly and disrupts your life, or whether it stays manageable and less symptomatic. So when we say diet and lifestyle matter, it is not an empty slogan, it is a scientific fact. Ignoring them allows prostate enlargement to progress unchecked, but paying attention can slow it down, ease symptoms, and protect overall health. Men who take responsibility for their daily habits are not helpless against BPH. Instead, they place themselves in the strongest position possible to enjoy freedom, confidence, and vitality well into their later years. When men hear about prostate health, lifestyle, and diet, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Many think they would need to make drastic, almost impossible changes to see any real difference. But the encouraging truth is that small, consistent adjustments can have a powerful effect. You don't have to become an athlete, give up everything you enjoy, or spend hours in the kitchen preparing complicated meals. The body responds remarkably well to modest improvements, and when it comes to your prostate, these changes can reduce symptoms, slow growth, and restore comfort in daily life. Let's start with weight. Research shows that even losing as little as 5 to 10% of your body weight can significantly reduce the inflammatory signals that fuel prostate enlargement. That means if you weigh 200 pounds, losing just 10 to 20 pounds could already ease pressure on your prostate and improve urinary function. This is not about chasing perfection or fitting into a certain clothing size. It's about relieving your body of the excess burden that directly stimulates your prostate to grow. By trimming a modest amount of weight, men often notice they sleep better, wake up less at night to urinate, and feel more energy during the day. Dietary changes can be just as simple and just as powerful. Instead of overhauling everything, start by making small swaps. Replace one sugary drink with water or herbal tea each day. Trade a fried meal for a grilled or baked option twice a week. Add a serving of vegetables to your dinner plate. These little shifts might seem insignificant, but they begin to lower inflammation, balance hormones, and provide the nutrients your body needs to fight off oxidative stress. Over time, those small decisions stack up and the benefits become visible, not only in prostate health, but in heart function, digestion, and overall vitality. Exercise is another area where small changes matter. You don't need to train for a marathon or lift heavy weights to make progress. Even a daily 20 to 30-minute walk can help regulate insulin levels, reduce belly fat, and improve circulation, all of which lower the inflammatory environment that encourages prostate growth. Men who build small amounts of movement into their daily routine, such as walking after meals, climbing stairs instead of taking elevators, or stretching in the morning, gain significant protective benefits. The prostate responds positively when the body is active, and these simple movements are more sustainable than intense programs that few stick with long term. Another small but impactful adjustment is hydration. Many men restrict fluids out of fear of worsening urinary frequency, but cutting back on water leads to concentrated urine that irritates the bladder and makes symptoms worse. The smarter strategy is to drink moderate amounts of water during the day, avoid excessive fluids right before bed, and limit bladder irritants like caffeine and alcohol. These small adjustments help maintain urinary tract health and make trips to the bathroom less disruptive. Sleep and stress management also play a bigger role than many realize. Chronic stress raises cortisol levels, which feeds inflammation. Poor sleep weakens the body's ability to repair itself and regulate hormones. Simple changes like setting a regular bedtime, creating a relaxing pre-sleep routine, or practicing breathing exercises can lower stress and improve sleep quality. The result is a body that functions more smoothly and a prostate less prone to irritation and enlargement. What's important to remember is that these changes don't have to be made all at once. In fact, the most sustainable improvements happen when you take one step at a time. Commit to one healthier choice, stick with it until it becomes a habit, then add another. Over weeks and months, those small shifts accumulate into a lifestyle that supports prostate health naturally and effectively. The message is clear: small changes carry big weight. Every better choice chips away at the cycle of inflammation, weight gain, and hormonal imbalance that makes the prostate grow. You don't need to transform your life overnight. You only need to start with one small step and stay consistent. The body is resilient and responsive, and when you give it even modest support, it rewards you with better health, improved comfort, and renewed confidence. For men over 60, this is incredibly empowering because it proves that you're not at the mercy of your prostate. You have influence, and that influence begins with the small decisions you make today. One of the biggest mistakes men make when it comes to their prostate health is waiting too long to take action. Many men in their 60 seconds and beyond begin to notice changes. Maybe they're waking up 2 or 3 times a night to use the bathroom. Maybe their stream is weaker than it used to be, or maybe they find themselves planning their day around the nearest restroom. But instead of seeing these as warning signs, they dismiss them as just getting older. This mindset is dangerous because ignoring the early signs allows problems to worsen and robs men of the chance to make changes when they can have the greatest impact. Taking action early doesn't mean rushing into surgery or medication at the first sign of trouble. It means paying attention to what your body is telling you and seeking professional guidance before the symptoms become disruptive or complications arise. The prostate is a small gland, but when it begins to enlarge, the effects ripple through the entire urinary system. Over time, untreated obstruction can strain the bladder, weaken its muscles, and make it harder to empty completely. This can lead to urinary tract infections, bladder stones, or even kidney damage in severe cases. These outcomes are far less common when men are proactive, but far more likely when they wait until the situation becomes unbearable. One of the reasons men delay is embarrassment. Urinary issues are often seen as private, even shameful, and many would rather tolerate discomfort than talk to a doctor about it. But prostate enlargement is one of the most common conditions men face as they age, and urologists see it every single day. There is nothing unusual or shameful about seeking help. It is a sign of strength and responsibility. Taking the step to get checked can provide clarity, reassurance, and practical solutions that improve quality of life. Another reason men hesitate is the fear that nothing can be done. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Early intervention can be as simple as lifestyle adjustments: weight loss, improved diet, more exercise, and better hydration. In some cases, medications are available that relax the muscles of the prostate and bladder neck, making urination easier or shrink the prostate itself. For men with more advanced symptoms, minimally invasive procedures can be performed that relieve obstruction without major surgery. The options are wide, but the key is that they work best when the problem is addressed before it progresses too far. There's also the mental burden to consider. Living with constant urinary urgency, poor sleep, or the fear of accidents creates stress and frustration that ripple into every area of life. Relationships suffer, confidence declines, and daily routines become exhausting. By taking action early, men can avoid years of silent struggle and regain the freedom and peace of mind they deserve. A healthy prostate doesn't just mean fewer bathroom trips, it means better rest, more energy, and greater enjoyment of everyday life. The message is clear: don't wait until symptoms control your life before you act. If you notice changes in your urinary habits, treat them as signals to pay attention, not as inconveniences to ignore. Make the lifestyle changes you can, schedule a checkup, and talk openly with a healthcare professional. Small steps taken early can prevent bigger problems later. Prostate enlargement may be common, but it doesn't have to control you. When you take action at the first signs, you put yourself in the best position to manage it effectively, protect your long-term health, and maintain your quality of life. So for every man over 60 hearing this, let this be your encouragement. Don't dismiss your symptoms and don't delay. The earlier you step in, the more choices you'll have, the easier the solutions will be, and the better your future will look. Your prostate may change with age, but your comfort, confidence, and vitality are still in your hands if you choose to act now. So here's my closing thought. Your prostate doesn't have to control your nights, your comfort, or your confidence. Stop feeding the habit that fuels its growth. Take charge of your health now, and you'll thank yourself in the years to come. I'm Dr. Reena Malik, and remember, when you take care of your body, it takes care of you. Stay healthy, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.